In the late 19th century, post-mortem photography became a fascinating and somewhat eerie practice. This was a time when society had a very different relationship with death than we do today. Life expectancy was lower, and families often faced the loss of loved ones at an early age. With limited ways to remember those who had passed, many opted for photographs as a way to honor their memory. Post-mortem photography was not just about capturing a moment. It was about preserving the essence of someone forever gone. During this era, photography was still relatively new and considered a valuable art form. Families would dress their deceased in their best clothes, arranging them in lifelike poses, sometimes even placing them in familiar settings or with cherished objects. The aim was to create an image that would evoke not just sorrow, but also fond memories of the person's life. If you enjoy this video, please like the video and subscribe for more, and tell me where you are watching from today. I always find it awesome to see where all my viewers are watching from. Let's get back to the video. For many, these photographs served as keepsakes, a way to hold on to a fleeting moment in time. The popularity of post-mortem photography can be linked to several factors. As urbanization increased and families moved into cities, traditional beliefs about death began to shift. Death was no longer a community event, but rather something that happened behind closed doors. People were often isolated from the dying process, which made the need for tangible reminders of lost loved ones even more important. Moreover, the Victorian era emphasized the importance of memorials and mourning rituals, leading families to seek ways to celebrate lives even after death. In this context emerged a unique aspect. While most post-mortem photos captured somber expressions and lifeless bodies, there were exceptions that caught public attention. Like the boy who smiled in every post-mortem photo, his presence challenged the norm. Why would a child smile in such circumstances? At first glance, it seemed almost unfathomable against the backdrop of grief that surrounded most images of deceased individuals. The societal views surrounding death in those times were complex and layered. Death was both feared and romanticized. It was seen as an inevitable part of life, but also as something to be mourned deeply. Mourning attire, black dresses for women and dark suits for men, was common during this period, serving as a visual cue for others about one's loss. Yet within this somber atmosphere arose stories of hope and resilience, shining through the darkest times. As families began to share these photos with friends or display them prominently in their homes, they provided comfort by keeping memories alive. The images acted as visual narratives of love and loss. They were reminders that though someone might physically depart from this world, their spirit and memory could still live on through photographs. The story of the smiling boy stands out against this historical backdrop like a bright star against an overcast sky. It embodied a juxtaposition, the blending of sorrow with joy, sadness with remembrance. His smile sparked curiosity among those who encountered his photographs. It raised questions about how we choose to remember our lost loved ones. What did his smile mean? Was it simply a child's innocent spirit breaking through grim realities? Or perhaps it reflected a deeper understanding that life is fleeting and should be celebrated, even amidst sorrow. Many who saw his photos felt drawn to him, intrigued by the contrast he presented compared to traditional depictions of death. As word spread about these unusual images, reactions varied widely among family members and strangers alike. Some found comfort in his joyful pose. Others were perplexed or even disturbed by the idea of smiling in such solemn moments. This duality led to discussions about how people cope with loss differently and how cultural expressions surrounding death can influence our understanding of grief. In this vibrant tapestry, woven from moments captured on film, we find ourselves contemplating not just how we memorialize loved ones, but also how we celebrate life itself, even after it has ended. Each photograph told its own story. Each smile held within it countless emotions, from happiness to heartache. Thus began an exploration into why some chose to preserve such unconventional memories, while others adhered strictly to societal norms regarding mourning practices. The smiling boy became more than just another subject in post-mortem photography. He transformed into a symbol, a reminder that laughter can coexist with sadness. His story invites us all to reflect on our relationship with mortality, reminding us that while death is an unavoidable reality, our responses shape the legacies left behind. The boy who smiled amid silence brings forth echoes of joy intermingled with sorrow, a gentle nudge toward celebrating those we have lost instead of merely mourning their absence. As we wrap our minds around the customs surrounding death during this time period, we start recognizing the importance of remembering those who came before us through stories like his, challenging us all to consider how we wish to honor memories moving forward into modern times, where connections may fade, but spirits remain ever bright. So let us journey further into this tale, the one where smiles bridge gaps between life and afterlife, and discover what lies beyond mere portraits frozen in time. In a small town nestled amid the rolling hills of New England, there lived a boy named Samuel. Samuel was known for his bright smile and cheerful spirit, qualities that radiated warmth to everyone around him. Born into a close-knit family in 1880, he was the youngest of 4 siblings. His parents, William and Margaret, were simple folk who worked hard to provide for their family. William was a blacksmith, crafting tools and repairs for local farmers, while Margaret tended to their home and nurtured her children with love and care. Growing up in an era when life was often challenging, Samuel found joy in simple pleasures. He loved to explore the nearby woods, where he would climb trees and chase butterflies, his laughter echoing through the trees. His siblings adored him, and they often indulged his playful spirit by joining him in games. They created imaginary worlds filled with adventures, where the sky was the limit and worries melted away. Samuel's infectious laughter would lift their spirits, making even the toughest days seem brighter. Despite the happiness they shared, life was not always easy for the family. They faced their share of hardships, including sickness and loss. It was during one particularly harsh winter that tragedy struck. Samuel's older sister, Clara, fell ill with a fever that swept through the town. The family did everything they could to care for her, but despite their efforts, Clara passed away one bleak afternoon. The grief that enveloped their home was palpable. It left a heavy silence where laughter once flowed freely. In the wake of Clara's death, Samuel became a source of comfort for his family. He took it upon himself to cheer them up, often doing silly dances or telling stories filled with adventure and bravery. His resilience in finding joy despite sorrow earned him a reputation as a beacon of light in dark times. To his parents, he seemed to embody hope, the belief that life would continue on, even after immense loss. It was during this period that Samuel's family decided to engage in post-mortem photography to memorialize Clara. They wanted a way to remember her spirit forever, capturing her essence in a photograph that could hold on to her memory after she was gone. When they approached the photographer, they brought along Samuel to be present for the occasion. Little did anyone know that this moment would lead to something extraordinary. As they posed for the photograph alongside Clara's still form, something unexpected happened. Samuel, perhaps trying to lighten the heaviness of the moment, or simply being his joyful self, flashed his trademark smile. The photographer captured this image, a serene Clara surrounded by her grieving family, with little Samuel beaming brightly. The contrast was striking, a bittersweet reminder of life amidst death. The photograph turned out to be something remarkable. When shared with friends and relatives, people were drawn not only to Clara's gentle face, but also to Samuel's radiant smile. It sparked conversations about how memories are preserved and celebrated even in times of sorrow. People began to refer to him as the boy who smiled, intrigued by his ability to express joy where others felt only despair. As time passed, Samuel continued to be part of more post-mortem photographs, often smiling brightly beside deceased relatives or friends. His unusual expression challenged societal norms at the time. While others posed with somber faces reflecting grief, he embodied hope and light, a stark contrast that resonated deeply with those who viewed the photographs. His parents encouraged this spirit of celebration rather than solely mourning. They believed it was important to honor those who had passed away by remembering them fondly rather than being consumed by sadness. So they embraced Samuel's joyful disposition as a way of coping with their loss, a reminder that life goes on even in its most painful moments. As word spread about Samuel's radiant smile in these poignant moments, he became somewhat of a local legend. Families began seeking him out for photographs alongside their dearly departed, hoping that his joyful presence would somehow ease their grief. For many, Samuel symbolized the idea that life should be cherished, even amidst loss. And this made him both beloved and somewhat mysterious. Yet, amid all this attention and curiosity surrounding his smile lay an underlying truth. Samuel was still a child navigating through grief just like everyone else. Though he wore a brave face for others, there were moments when he felt sadness too. A longing for his sister Clara and a desire to hold on to those precious memories they once shared. He balanced both feelings within him, learning how joy and sorrow could coexist in complex ways. Samuel's story transcended mere photography. It became a narrative about how we view loss and memory itself. His cheerful demeanor offered solace to many families dealing with heartache while also encouraging deeper conversations about life and death. People began reflecting on their own experiences, how they remembered those they had lost, and how they chose to celebrate lives rather than solely mourn their passing. Through it all, Samuel remained a child at heart, exploring nature, playing games with friends, and laughing even as he faced difficult emotions. His legacy continued to grow beyond the photographs. He inspired others not just through smiles captured on film, but also through his infectious spirit that reminded everyone around him of life's beauty. As we delve deeper into Samuel's journey, we uncover layers of understanding about grief and remembrance that resonate through time, inviting us all to reflect on our relationships with those we've lost, while embracing the laughter that can shine through moments of darkness. Now let us unravel more tales from this remarkable boy whose smile bridged the gap between life and afterlife. During the late 19th century, the cultural expectations surrounding death and mourning heavily influenced how individuals were portrayed in post-mortem photography. Most photographs of deceased loved ones were characterized by somber expressions, often showing lifeless faces that conveyed the deep sorrow felt by families. This was a time when mourning was formalized and ritualized. People dressed in dark attire and adhered strictly to customs that demanded they exhibit their grief visibly. The act of smiling in photographs during such a serious time was seen as both inappropriate and disrespectful to the memory of the deceased. In stark contrast stood Samuel, whose radiant smile showcased an entirely different perspective on life and death. His cheerful demeanor created a space where hope could flourish amidst despair, reflecting his innate personality that embraced joy even when surrounded by sadness. While many mourners sought to express their sorrow through solemnity, Samuel's bright expression challenged these deeply rooted traditions. He represented a new idea, that celebrating life and cherishing memories could coexist with mourning. Samuel's smile was not only a testament to his character, but also a reflection of his family's approach to dealing with loss. Instead of allowing grief to consume them, they found comfort in recalling happier moments shared with Clara. By encouraging Samuel to express himself joyfully, even during grieving moments, they fostered a mindset that honored the memory of their loved ones while also embracing the beauty of life itself. This outlook was somewhat revolutionary for that time period. Families often felt pressured to conform to societal expectations, believing that showing grief meant wearing a serious expression for photographs. But Samuel's smile brought forth an element of warmth and comfort that resonated deeply with those who viewed his images. It sparked discussions about how life should be remembered rather than solely mourned. His face became an emblematic reminder that there is space for joy even in loss. A reflection not only of his own personality, but also an invitation for others to rethink the conventional narratives surrounding death. Moreover, Samuel's smiling photographs served as visual narratives for the living rather than just memorials for the dead. They took on a life of their own, moving beyond mere representations of sorrowful goodbyes into vibrant celebrations of existence. When families displayed these images at home or shared them with friends, they initiated conversations about life's transience in ways that traditional depictions could not achieve. People began asking questions. Could smiles signify hope? Could laughter pierce through grief? His presence offered families solace, inspiring them to recount stories about their loved ones filled with laughter and warmth rather than focusing solely on their absence. Samuel's wide grin became a reminder of cherished characteristics, playfulness, adventure, tenderness, that people remembered fondly about those they lost. The boy symbolized how one could honor a life by embodying happiness inspired by memories instead of being merely anchored in pain. The significance of smiling during these somber occasions extended beyond personal comfort. It reflected larger philosophical shifts occurring within society regarding death and memory. As post-mortem photography began featuring smiles more prominently through Samuel's influence, people started realizing they had agency over how they chose to remember their loved ones. They could decide how best to celebrate lives lived, rather than cater exclusively to traditional mourning practices. Samuel's journey illuminated an essential truth. Our relationships with those we've lost shape our present moments profoundly, transforming tears into laughter as we navigate memories through time. His ability to smile amid sorrow prompted others around him to reflect on their perceptions surrounding grief. Realizing it didn't have to be confined solely within sadness, but could extend into realms filled with love and joy. Furthermore, expressing joy amid moments marked by loss reinforced resilience as individuals moved forward while honoring legacies left behind by those who passed away. It encouraged others not only to remember lives lost, but also to create spaces where laughter coexisted harmoniously alongside heartache, a delicate balance reflecting life's dual nature. The act of smiling in photographs became revolutionary, not simply because it broke away from historical conventions, but also because it generated deeper dialogues about mortality itself, what it means to live fully while accepting inevitable endings that come along with existence. Through Samuel's lens, Audiences witnessed the power encapsulated within smiles, an enduring strength capable of bridging gaps between grief and joy. As people began embracing this philosophy together with Samuel's bright spirit illuminating paths ahead, they realized each moment possessed beauty even amidst pain, a gentle reminder weaved throughout every photograph captured, an echo reverberating from past memories merging seamlessly into present experiences waiting to unfold. So let us strive toward cultivating spaces where smiles thrive alongside tear-streaked faces, where remembering does not solely lie within hushed tones, but bursts forth joyously celebrating all facets our journeys encompass. Now we take another step further into understanding how this transformative perspective on smiling reflects not just upon Samuel's story, but touches countless others navigating similar landscapes of love tinged with loss. The photographer responsible for capturing Samuel's iconic images was a man named Albert Thompson, a skilled artisan working in the small town where Samuel lived. Known for his keen eye and meticulous technique, Albert was one of the few photographers specializing in post-mortem photography, a delicate art that required not only technical skill, but also a deep understanding of human emotions. Albert had been trained in the bustling city of Boston before returning to his hometown, where he set up a modest studio filled with various backdrops and props. He was well respected in the community for his ability to bring out the essence of his subjects, whether alive or departed. His process involved careful positioning and lighting, often taking multiple exposures to ensure that each detail was perfectly captured. In an era when technology was evolving rapidly, Albert used large format cameras that required long exposure times, sometimes several minutes, which meant subjects had to remain completely still. Families who commissioned post-mortem photos approached Albert with a mix of sorrow and hope. For many, it was an essential part of their grieving process, a way to hold on to their loved ones after they were gone. When Samuel's family arrived at Albert's studio following Clara's death, they were enveloped in a heavy atmosphere of grief. However, Albert, with his gentle manner and understanding heart, set out to transform their sorrow into something beautiful, a visual memory that would honor Clara's life. As the family prepared for the photograph, Albert softly instructed them on how to arrange themselves around Clara's still body. His respectful demeanor helped ease their anguish, allowing them to focus on the love they had for their lost daughter rather than being solely consumed by grief. He understood that capturing a post-mortem image was not just about documenting death. It was also about preserving the essence of life. On that day in the studio, once everything was arranged, Albert noticed Samuel's bright spirit shining through the solemnity surrounding him. Samuel's smile caught Albert's attention as he framed the shot. The photographer instinctively felt that this moment could convey more than mere sorrow. It could portray hope and love amidst loss. He took care to capture not only Clara, but also Samuel's joyful light reflecting through her memory. Once Albert finished capturing that significant photograph, he developed the images in his darkroom, taking great care in every step of the process. The resulting photographs revealed an ethereal quality. Clara appeared peaceful and serene, while Samuel's smile radiated a warmth and joy that seemed anchored in fond memories rather than tied solely to grief. When families received their photographs from Albert, reactions varied widely based on individual coping styles and cultural beliefs about death. For many grieving families, seeing Samuel's glowing smile alongside Clara's peaceful visage was captivating. It sparked hope where there had only been sadness, a reaffirmation that joy could coexist with sorrow. Some families saw these photographs as treasures, artifacts they would display proudly within their homes. The images became a source of strength during difficult times, They served as stories passed down through generations about who loved ones were in life and how they were celebrated even after passing away. However, reactions by others could be mixed. Some were intrigued by Samuel's unconventional approach to post-mortem photography, while others quickly dismissed such smiling expressions as inappropriate given societal norms at the time. Yet this range of reactions only added complexity to discussions around death, prompting people to reconsider how emotion manifests itself within moments marked by both love and loss. Albert Thompson's role as both an artist and confidant made significant waves within local circles regarding societal expectations surrounding mourning practices. The legacy of those photographs began reshaping ideas about how people viewed death-related moments, contributing to transformations within community perceptions over time. As rumors spread pertaining to this smiling boy who graced post-mortem images across town lines, other families flocked to Albert seeking similar captures, hopeful that perhaps laughter might emerge alongside their heartache too. These requests affirmed that Samuel's presence infused new meaning into a deeply rooted tradition. As he turned post-mortem sessions into vivid portrayals celebrating life beyond what was conventionally understood before, Albert found himself reflecting on how smiles can evoke complex sentiments within grief. Every click of his camera released conversations that bridged gaps opened by traditional depictions surrounding death and remembrance, molded through years past, offering attendees space filled with openness rather than confinement in sorrow alone. The significance of Samuel's image encouraged conversations reflecting broader societal shifts regarding mourning itself. It prompted individuals from various backgrounds, and even beyond this New England town, to rethink how memories are constructed when faced with losing loved ones or friends. Ultimately, through careful artistry combined with unique perspectives embodied by children like Samuel, the power of photography spotlighted resilience amidst heartache, transforming traditional practices surrounding loss into more inclusive celebrations grounded on shared experiences full of vibrancy despite inevitable endings we all face one day. Albert Thompson became more than just a photographer. He emerged as a symbol within these interactions, a sincere observer, threading threads, connecting joy intertwined within grief, while challenging conventions historically pictured so bleakly. As we continue exploring this story about smiling amid loss through elements, including artistic expression, captured so beautifully by Albert's lens, let us celebrate the conversations growing around forgiveness, given toward lives lost, while discovering new narratives emerging blossoming against society's tendentious expectations from eras long past. As Samuel's smiling post-mortem images began to circulate in the small New England town and beyond, public reactions varied widely, reflecting the complex attitudes toward life, death, and memory in Victorian society. For many, witnessing a boy who could smile in the presence of death was both refreshing and perplexing. On one hand, some people were enchanted by the photographs. They felt drawn to Samuel's joyful expression and found comfort in the idea that joy could exist alongside sorrow. The images stirred a sense of hope, leading families to rethink their own relationships with loss and mourning. In a time when mourning customs were rigidly formalized, characterized by dark clothing, somber expressions, and an emphasis on preserving grief, Samuel's smiling photographs represented a radical departure from tradition. His joyful demeanor invited viewers to reconsider how they approached death, sparking discussions about celebrating life rather than being solely consumed by sadness. This shift resonated with many families who had lost loved ones and were searching for ways to honor their memories outside of conventional mourning practices. As word spread about Samuel's unique presence in post-mortem photography, it garnered attention not just within his community, but also in neighboring towns. People began seeking Albert Thompson not only for his skill, but also for the chance to capture similar moments of light amid their grief. Families were hopeful that Samuel's spirit could inspire their own captured memories, a vivid reminder that while death was inevitable, cherishing joyful moments was equally important. However, reactions among the public were not universally positive. Some traditionalists viewed Samuel's smile as inappropriate or even disrespectful. To them, the act of smiling in such contexts seemed to undermine the seriousness of loss and mourning rituals that had been established for generations. They argued that society should adhere to solemnity during times of death, since showing grief visibly was meant to honor the deceased fully. To align with these views meant rejecting any attempts at expressing happiness or joy when facing mortality. This division created lively debates within community gatherings and social circles. Conversations flowed as people dissected what it truly meant to express love and loss through photography. Was it wrong to intertwine smiles with memories of those who had passed? Many began contemplating whether joy highlighted the vibrancy of lives lived, or if it diluted the grieving process itself. In literary parlors and salons, popular meeting places for intellectual discourse, Samuel's images often became a focal point for discussions about societal change regarding death perceptions. Writers explored themes surrounding life after loss in novels and essays, influenced by this evolving understanding of mourning practices. Poets wrote verses imbued with emotions ranging from heartache to nostalgia, while finding inspiration in Samuel's enigmatic grin that danced just beyond sight. The public reaction served as a mirror, reflecting broader societal shifts as well. This gradually loosening grip on rigid expressions surrounding death coincided with emerging ideas of individualism during the Victorian era, a time marked by significant changes within art and culture across Europe and America. As citizens began challenging strict conventions around death through collective dialogue inspired partly by Samuel's presence, they found themselves navigating newfound spaces where grief could be expressed uniquely without rigidity or fear. Moreover, women's rights movements gained momentum during this period. Discussions on emotional expression were further thrust into public consciousness alongside notions about gender roles concerning mourning practices rooted deeply within patriarchal expectations, influencing how emotions manifested themselves contextually, often suggesting men should remain stoic while women bore emotional weights unburdened publicly. While some may have initially dismissed Samuel's smiling photographs as mere curiosities or anomalies, against more conservative backdrops depicting sorrowful goodbyes soon discovered transformative possibilities infused within these captures, potentially redefining what space existed between joy intertwined with grief, ultimately reshaping cultural understandings surrounding memory construction itself. Eventually, viewing these conversations reinforced local connections between larger societal questions, engaging individuals grappling not only with their mortality, but also contemplating shared experiences shaping humanity collectively. That indeed, all facets of existence could coexist harmoniously. A profound counterpoint beautifully illustrated by Samuel's simple yet radiant smile, enduring forever, held within frames. As engagement deepened around this subject, matter fueled by curiosity sparked through understanding how photography tells multifaceted stories rooted deep within human experience. Those once labeled simply "smiling boy" transformed into symbols alive each time someone glimpsed toward his portrait, blissfully straddling two opposing universes intertwined despite inevitable ending straining bonds. Through expanding dialogues forged forth from public reactions, emerged empowered perspectives, elevating complex intersections, encompassing shared identities, while accentuating resilience amidst darkness, allowing paths forward, steeped, richly layered histories, unfolding even beyond frame-ascribed constraints. So let us journey deeper into collective reflections revolving around perception towards loss, underpinning enduring legacy-shaped, clearly exemplified through more than just portraits frozen in time. The very essence, breathing life, renewed reflections upon mortality, illuminated beautifully through timeless moments, forever captured. As Samuel's images became widely known, they began to take on a life of their own, spawning myths and stories that surrounded both the boy and his photographs. In a society captivated by the supernatural and the unexplained, Samuel's smiling face became an emblem of mystery, leading people to speculate about the reasons behind his joyful expression in the context of death. One prevailing myth suggested that Samuel possessed a unique ability to communicate with spirits, which explained his smile during such solemn occasions. People whispered tales of how he could see beyond the veil of life and death, perceiving happiness where others only found grief. Some even believed he had been visited by Clara's spirit before the photos were taken, instilling him with a sense of peace that transcended the sorrow surrounding her passing. This notion fascinated many who longed for connections with lost loved ones, turning Samuel into a symbol of hope for those seeking comfort in their own losses. Moreover, stories about Samuel's joyful demeanor painted him as an angelic figure, an embodiment of innocence that could lighten the heaviest hearts. Families began to refer to him affectionately as the Smiling Boy, a title that evoked images of purity and happiness amidst tragedy. This new identity transformed Samuel into a local legend. Children recounted his story at bedtime, and adults spoke of him in hushed tones as if he were some mythical being gracing their lives. However, while these myths brought a sense of wonder and intrigue, they also obscured the realities faced by Samuel and his family. The focus on his smiling image often overshadowed the deep pain they endured after losing Clara. As Samuel's laughter became synonymous with healing, it inadvertently placed pressure on him to maintain this persona, a burden for a young boy navigating his own grief while trying to bring joy to others. The impact on Samuel's family was profound. They found themselves at the center of attention as curiosity surrounding their son's photographs grew. While they appreciated the comfort that Samuel's presence provided to others, they also felt the weight of expectation that came with being part of a local legend. Conversations shifted from simply remembering Clara to discussing their son's remarkable gift, which sometimes felt like a departure from their true experience of loss. Despite these pressures, Samuel's family embraced their newfound fame. They participated in community events where they shared stories about Clara and opened discussions about how to navigate grief with joy. Their openness encouraged others to express their feelings surrounding loss more freely, creating spaces where memories could be celebrated rather than trapped in sorrow. The family's legacy intertwined with Samuel's image. Together, they cultivated an enduring reminder that love remains alive even after someone has passed away. As time went on, fascination with the Smiling Boy extended beyond their small town into nearby regions. People traveled long distances, hoping to catch a glimpse of Samuel or hear tales about him from those who had experienced his spirit firsthand. Local newspapers published articles discussing his photographs, praising the boy who smiled amid loss and exploring how such imagery shifted perceptions on mourning practices across communities. However, not all responses were positive. Skepticism lingered among some who thought the phenomenon had spiraled into sensationalism. Critics argued that focusing too much on Samuel's smile risked trivializing the very real sadness associated with death, a critique that resonated within conversations about grief management during this period. The dichotomy between celebration and solemnity continued to fuel debates surrounding memory construction in Victorian society. Amid these discussions, myths surrounding Samuel's photographs evolved further into artistic expressions. Poems written in tribute celebrated his spirit, while paintings capturing his likeness depicted not just sorrow, but hope entwined with light. Artists sought inspiration from this remarkable child, creating works that reflected broader themes surrounding life's fragility and resilience, through personal narratives reshaping cultural dialogues about loss altogether. In essence, Samuel became more than just a boy in photographs. He evolved into a catalyst for change, encouraging individuals across generations to confront their own fears regarding mortality while embracing joy found within collective memories shared amongst families navigating similar experiences together. As we explore this chapter in history surrounding the Smiling Boy, we recognize how narratives shaped around these legends hold power. They can inform cultural norms while sparking essential conversations, linking emotion expressed through art back toward human experiences firmly rooted within reality itself. Ultimately, Samuel's story is one that transcends time. It lingers as an echo, reverberating through moments captured forever, framed within those hauntingly beautiful portraits, reminding us all that while life is fleeting, joy can still find its way into spaces shadowed by loss. So let us journey deeper into understanding how legends formed around smiles amid darkness reveal truths about humanity's enduring capacity for love, interwoven intricately throughout our shared histories. Samuel's story and the imagery surrounding his smiling post-mortem photographs have significantly influenced modern attitudes toward memory and mourning, reshaping how society engages with the themes of grief and remembrance. His cultural impact can be traced through various dimensions, from changing societal perceptions to inspiring artistic expressions that blend joy with loss. In the wake of Samuel's legacy, contemporary society has moved towards a more holistic understanding of grief, one that acknowledges the need to honor deceased loved ones while also celebrating their lives. No longer confined strictly to sorrowful expressions or heavy mourning rituals. Modern remembrance practices often encourage individuals to share joyful stories, laughter, and fond memories in addition to their tears. Samuel's smiling face serves as a potent reminder that life, with all its warmth and brightness, should continue to be celebrated, even in the aftermath of loss. This shift in perspective is evident in numerous memorial practices today. Memorial services frequently include personal tributes, where family and friends recount funny anecdotes or cherished moments spent with the deceased, emphasizing the happiness shared rather than solely focusing on the void left behind. Such celebrations help create an atmosphere where it is permissible to express joy alongside sadness, effectively weaving together the duality of experiences surrounding death. Samuel's influence can also be seen in the rise of personalized commemorations tailored to reflect the essence of those who have passed. Families now often seek ways to symbolize the interests and passions of their loved ones, turning funerals or memorial gatherings into vibrant gatherings reflecting the individual's personality. This trend reflects the idea that honoring someone's memory does not have to occur through ritualized sadness, but can instead blossom into a joyful celebration of life's fleeting beauty. Moreover, Samuel's story resonates deeply with current discussions surrounding mental health. By acknowledging that grief takes many forms and often exists alongside happiness, society is beginning to understand that it is both normal and healthy to experience a range of emotions when navigating loss. This acceptance empowers individuals to process their feelings authentically without suppression or fear of judgment, promoting open discussions about mental well-being. Samuel's smiling image symbolizes the importance of embracing all facets of human experience rather than adhering strictly to pain associated with loss. Samuel's impact extends beyond personal narratives into the realm of art and creative expression. Artists across mediums, writing, Visual arts, theater, often draw inspiration from his story and the symbolism of his smile. Literature and poetry frequently explore themes of light amid darkness, drawing parallels to Samuel's ability to capture joy amid sorrow. Paintings depicting joyful scenes alongside haunting memories remind viewers that beauty can emerge even from heartache. The tradition of art as a means of coping with grief has flourished due largely to Samuel's influence. Contemporary works often invite audiences to reflect on their personal experiences related to loss, while reinforcing shared connections built around emotional resilience. This ongoing dialogue fosters deeper relationships among individuals as they learn from one another's narratives, illustrated vividly through various artistic expressions. Additionally, social media has transformed how people remember and honor those they've lost, allowing for immediate sharing of memories, infused with both joy and sadness. Online platforms serve as virtual spaces where families can create legacies for their loved ones, filling feeds with smiles and cherished moments captured over time. The trend toward celebrating life, rather than focusing solely on loss, aligns seamlessly with Samuel's spirit, reminding society that joy persists long after someone is gone. Yet, while examining these shifts in attitudes towards memory and mourning, it is essential to acknowledge that such changes are still met with resistance from some traditionalists who may view these evolving practices as disrespectful to those who have passed away. Debates continue regarding how best to navigate the balance between grief and joy. Opinions vary widely based on individual beliefs rooted in culture or philosophy about life after death. However, discussions surrounding these contrasting views ultimately contribute positively by opening up conversations about how different people engage with grief uniquely shaped by their experiences. As modern society becomes increasingly diverse, acknowledging multiple perspectives allows for richer dialogues fostering connectivity across generations. In summary, Samuel's legacy profoundly influences contemporary attitudes regarding memory and mourning. His smiling image reminds us of the vital need for balance when grappling with loss, insisting we honor the lives lost while simultaneously cherishing the beauty retained in our shared stories around them. As we continue exploring our cultural landscape infused deeply within history shaped by figures like Samuel, the boy who smiled amid sorrow, we uncover enduring truths tied intricately together. Through collective humanity, enduring endless cycles, weaving love throughout timelessness, forever celebrated. The story of Samuel, the boy who smiled in every post-mortem photo, carries profound significance that resonates through time and continues to influence our understanding of life, love, and remembrance. In an age where death was often shrouded in solemnity and rigid mourning practices, Samuel's cheerful demeanor offered a refreshing counterpoint, challenging societal norms about how we engage with grief. His smile, captured in those powerful images, became a symbol of hope and resilience, a reminder that joy can coexist with sorrow. At its core, Samuel's story reflects the enduring power of a smile, even in the most difficult times. Smiles convey warmth and openness, and they have the ability to transcend the boundaries of pain and sadness. Samuel's joyful expression during moments of loss has taught us that it is possible to find light amidst darkness. This idea resonates with many families today as they navigate their own experiences with grief. It encourages them to remember that while loss brings heartache, it is equally important to celebrate the lives of loved ones who have passed away. The themes of love and remembrance embedded in Samuel's tale showcase the depth of human emotion. Love does not end with death. Rather, it transforms into cherished memories and legacies that continue to live on. Samuel helped to redefine memorialization, a process that acknowledges both the joy his loved ones brought into their lives and the collective pain felt in their absence. Families influenced by his story have adopted new ways to honor their deceased, creating lively memorials that reflect different facets of their loved ones' personalities and fostering connections through shared stories infused with love. Moreover, Samuel's influence has contributed greatly to modern discussions surrounding mental health and emotional expression related to loss. His smiling image serves as a potent reminder that everyone copes with grief uniquely, and that embracing all emotions, both joyful and sorrowful, can lead to healing. The recognition that happiness can coexist alongside grief empowers people to process their feelings authentically, paving the way for greater acceptance and understanding within communities. In the realm of artistry, Samuel's legacy continues to inspire creative expressions that explore themes surrounding memory and loss. Writers, painters, and musicians alike have drawn from his story to craft narratives rich with complexity, highlighting how joy can emerge even from tragedy. These works have prompted audiences to think critically about their relationships with loss and allowed for conversations to flourish around how we remember those we love. As technology advances, the channels through which people express their memories have transformed as well. Today's digital landscape lets individuals share stories, photographs, and tributes online, creating virtual spaces for both joy and sorrow. Social media platforms enable families to curate legacies filled with light-hearted moments alongside periods of sadness, echoing Samuel's spirit of celebration amid grief. This intertwining of technology with memory practices emphasizes how collective remembrance can serve as a source of strength as well. We cannot overlook the fact that despite these positive changes surrounding memory and mourning inspired by Samuel's story, some traditional perspectives still resist the notion that joy should be part of grieving processes. However, these contrasting opinions invite crucial dialogues about cultural attitudes toward death and what it means to remember those we've lost. By acknowledging the varied ways people engage with grief, society can foster richer conversations about how individual experiences interpret love and loss across different contexts. Ultimately, Samuel's narrative is a testament to humanity's capacity for love and resilience in the face of loss. It teaches us that our memories shape who we are. They anchor us amidst heartache while simultaneously illuminating paths forward through celebration rather than mere lamentation. Continuing to honor Samuel's legacy ensures we carry forth this important message. The notion that smiles not only bring joy, but also promote connection among individuals navigating complex emotional landscapes. In conclusion, the enduring story of the boy who smiled in every post-mortem photo encapsulates a powerful journey, one marked by heartache intertwined with moments of grace, lightness, and laughter amidst sorrow. This tale serves as a gentle reminder that while loss can cast shadows upon our lives, there exists within each moment an opportunity for remembrance steeped richly in love, alongside buoyant remembrance devoid of rigidity, crafted lovingly through time. As we absorb these lessons from Samuel's vibrant spirit, framed beautifully against darkness, felt deeply around him, we echo timeless truths forever woven seamlessly throughout narratives artfully captured, reminding us precisely how smiles endure, relentlessly bringing vitality vividly back into lives once gripped tightly by fear.